All right, this one's a little harder to talk about. Caniacs fans, you knew this offseason was coming. Frederick Anderson turns 37 in October. He's a pending UFA, unrestricted free agent this July, and the Hurricanes have two younger goalies under contract behind him. So the math doesn't work. Math doesn't math. And we all know what that means. Freddie is probably leaving. So before we get into the analysis, the cap space, the trade rumors, all the noise, honestly, that's behind this, I just want to take a minute and say something straight up. Thank you, Freddie, for everything. Let's look back on this because I know we've given Freddie a hard time sometimes, but let's think about what this guy gave Carolina. Because we should not forget that anytime soon. And there's a reason that Stahl handed him the cup right after they won it. Let's actually talk about what he did this postseason because the headlines are all about the unceremonious exit, the injury. I know he's had injuries, the cup final benching, the fact that Brandon Bussey stepped in and finished the job. But that story is missing a bigger one. Freddie started 16 out of Carolina's 19 playoff games. He went 13 and 2. He posted a 9.17 save percentage, a 1.72 goals against average, and he posted three shutouts through the first three rounds. So ESPN said something like, it's not hyperbole to suggest that the Canes wouldn't have reached the cup final without his string of strong performances throughout the first three rounds. So read that again. We don't make it to the final without Freddie. Period. Brandon Bussey closed it out. He was freaking incredible. He deserves all the credit for what he did in those last few games. But Freddie carried us there. All right. He was the guy in the blue paint when we swept Ottawa in four, when we swept Philly in four, when we took down Montreal in five to reach the cup final. He was the foundation. So let's put that run in historical context for a second. Carolina became the first team since 1992 Blackhawks or Penguins to open a playoff run with back-to-back series sweeps, and the first team since the 1985 Edmonton Oilers to start the playoffs 8-0 since the four-round best of seven format that was introduced then. So it's not just like a good postseason. He had a historic one. The Hurricanes did, and Freddie was in net for it. So here's what is going to make this even harder to swallow. He got pulled in game three of the cup final. Yeah, we all know he gave up four goals in the back half of the second period, and then he didn't dress for four, five, or six of the cup final. Team was vague about why. There were rumors, speculation. After the cup won, Freddie finally said it. Like, we knew he was injured. He wasn't his best. He's had that before. Freddie's quote was something like, I hated it. I was nervously shaking the whole time in the back and trying to watch. Not something I liked, but I'm so happy with the way we were able to be resilient, battle through it, left it all out there. So it's not really that like he lost his job. I mean, he kind of would have, he did, but he did fight to get, sorry, he did fight to get back on the ice. And then, we celebrated him. He was the one holding the cup right after, and that's who Freddie Anderson is. So let's zoom out for a sec because Freddie's whole Carolina story is one of the most underrated runs in the entire franchise history, I think. In 2021, he signed a 2-year, $9 million deal. He immediately became the first goalie in franchise history to go 8-0 to start a season with a new team. He made the All-Star game in 22. Yeah, then the injuries started piling up. He had a scary blood clot issue in 2023. He had the knee surgery in 24, came back, played his 500th game in 2025, got his 300th career win a few days later. So he's the first Danish-born goaltender to ever reach those milestones. All right, and then this year, now 36 years old, coming off another injury, shortened regular season. Most analysts thought his prime was behind him, right? Like everybody did. Most teams would have moved on. But instead, Freddie put together like the best playoff run of his career and helped deliver the Stanley Cup. All right, he's the first Danish-born goaltender in NHL history to ever win one. It's not just like a career arc. That's a great career arc with a championship cherry on top of it. So here's where we are now. Hurricanes, we got two cheaper, younger goalies signed through next season. Bussey, Kochetkov. We're carrying three NHL level goalies on the cap right now. That's not sustainable, especially if we're trying to make room here for a Connor Hellebuyck size trade, right? So Andersen, meanwhile, he just had a postseason run that's going to drive up his market value. Multiple teams need a goalie this offseason. Not a lot of options available. He's going to get a real offer somewhere. Maybe a 2-year deal at decent money, maybe a contender looking for a vet. He should take it. He's earned the right to write his next chapter on his own terms. He's going to feel weird. Well, I don't know if he will. We will feel weird seeing him in a different jersey after what he just did for this team and what he overcame to be on the ice when it mattered. But let me just say this directly. Freddie, if somehow you're watching this, thank you, first off. Thank you for the saves. Thank you for the shutouts. Thank you for the comebacks and comebacks from the injuries that would have ended other guys' careers. Thanks for being the foundation of a Stanley Cup team. Thank you for being the kind of competitor who watched the final games from the back of the bench because you wanted it badly for your teammates. You will always be a Stanley Cup champion in Carolina. Your name is going on that cup. Your handprint is on this championship. And no matter where you sign in July, no Caniac is going to forget what you gave us. We hope you stay. We know you probably won't. Either way, you're part of the Caniac family. So what do you guys think? Is there any other way Carolina brings Freddie back, reduced role, or is this the end of the road for him in red and black? Drop it in the comments. And if you're a Caniac, hit like and subscribe so we can break this stuff down together.